Good morning, everyone. Aaron says, good morning, everyone, from very chilly South Louisiana. Linda says, good morning, chilly here too. Grafted Branch says, hello, y'all, I'll be right back. Andy says, good morning from snowy Missouri. Jesse Mills says, good morning, everyone, heading into work early today. Yeah, as cold as it is, you better hurry, Jesse. Oh. And I got my favorite cup this morning. And it is cold outside. I took Lucy for a walk and it was only 33 degrees. Aaron says he loves the cup. So do I, Aaron. Like I said, it's my favorite. Of course, it is Gidro's Urban Homestead. Cooking a Louisiana gumbo this morning. Christina says, good morning, friends. Good morning, Christina. Aaron says, hello, Jesse. Or hi, Jesse. And boy, you need the coffee this morning. Well, in about 2 more weeks, I'll restart on my quail. I'm going to go with, I think, jumbo whites and jumbo white wing farrows. Jesse says, snowy and cold here in Iowa, too. It's only 26 here currently. Let me check what it is here. It's 33 degrees with snow showers outside. Oh. It feels like 25 outside. I agree. There's Jasmine. Good morning, Verna. Good morning, Jasmine. And Jesse said he lost sound. Let me see. Can everybody hear me? I'll wait and see if anybody can hear me. It glitched, but it's back now. Moss Quail Farm, good morning. He says, yes, I hear you. Christina says, I can hear you. I think I'm going to have to get an external mic because when I go on Zoom, nobody can hear me. And I'm only showing one dot on the microphone area, which isn't good. Jesse said his phone was being stupid. Yeah, they call them smartphones, but I don't see how smart they are, huh? They're only as smart as the operator. We used to say they're only smart as programmers. What is everybody's plans going forward with self-sufficiency? Jasmine says all the waters were frozen this morning for all the homestead animals. Sigh. It's that season. Extra work for me. Yeah, Jasmine, it is. Even my quail room is cold because with no quail in it, I don't have the exhaust fan going. So it's the coldest room in the house right now instead of the warmest. Which reminds me, I should open that door so the Kai gets some heat. And he says, my phone was being stupid too. Wasn't playing the video. Maybe too cold outside. And it says, short term goals are. Then he repeats himself. Okay, what are they? Butcher a pig today and move around birds. Well, I got all my Kai mated into breeding pairs. So it'll be a couple months before I see any of those. Then it'll be a couple more months before I could eat any of them. Aaron, what kind of pig are you butchering? Do you know the breed of it? Now, personally, I'm going to go ahead when I get my quail back. I'm going to end up only incubating eggs from one cage at a time, or one layer of cages at one cage at a time. That's right. Hampshire cross. And Jasmine says for self sufficiency for this winter, processing extra quail to have smaller numbers for winter. Get rabbits bred and build a hay shed for the goats' winter hay. That sounds like a bunch of good projects, Jasmine. Moss says, I'm hatching more birds as we speak and getting MPIP certified at the end of the month. I'm hoping my dreams of selling hatching eggs come true. I'm sure they will. Moss, I forgot who you are on Facebook. Your first name. Kevin, okay. All right, Kevin. I knew your first name, but I couldn't remember what it was at all while I'm looking at your homestead name. My homestead name is very easy. It's my initials, and it says, in other words, base place. I'll type that out for you so you can understand. Andy, what are you butchering? See, I've got over 40 quail in the freezer. Probably got over 50 in the freezer. Oh, but I started on my Christmas run on the freeze dryer. And Andy says, I'm butchering about 15, 20 rabbits. Got quail growing out and put lights on the cage for Christmas. Kevin says, not many people know, but I'm paralyzed in a wheelchair from a deer stand fall in 2004. It goes to show, never give up. Quail farming can be done by anyone if you put your mind to it. I agree, Kevin. Not only can it be you don't limit yourself by your disability, and don't limit yourself by your living quarters, because I'm raising quail in a 1-bedroom apartment. And see, and you're doing it and you're paralyzed. So you can, and being a quail farm, that's your part of being self-sufficient. I mean, to be self-sufficient, you don't have to be totally off the grid or totally not go to the grocery store. It just means that you do what you can with what you have. Jasmine says, love your mindset, Kevin. And Kevin says, thanks. And you're doing awesome too, and a great role model. You know, I'm disabled. A lot of people don't know all my disabilities because I don't put them out there, because they're my personal problems. Because I have PTSD, FMS, a whole bunch of disabilities. But yeah, we do what we can do. You don't focus on what you can't do, because you don't know what you can do unless you push your limits. But that's what I was saying about getting ready for Christmas is see, I've got some more marshmallows. That light's kind of glaring on them. Maybe if I go over here and block the light a little. No. Laugh, Kathy. And peppermint saltwater taffy. I can get this somewhere where it doesn't glare so much. Jasmine says, Verna, I'm so ready for a freeze dryer, LOL. Right now, what they're doing Black Friday is when you need to put them on layaway. That way you lock in the price. If you only you have to put $200 down in order to lock it into layaway. Oh, peppermint soft water taffy. Jasmine says, I know, I ate about half the bag before I ever got the freeze dryer going. Then I had to have one of everything when I was bagging it. Next that I'm going to be putting up later today is Tropical Jolly Rogers, or Ranchers, Jolly Ranchers, and butterscotch disc. Otis says, morning, all. Good morning, Otis. Glad to have you aboard today. Jasmine says, we have so many priorities on the homestead. We have to get another livestock guardian puppy, and that's money. Yeah. Andy says, I'm going to grind some rabbit. Maybe can some, and I want to make some spam, rabbit spam. Christina says, I bet those butterscotch candies will be awesome. Christina, that's what I'm hoping, but I've ate half the bag while I'm waiting. Jasmine says, and then lots of fencing, 5 to 6 acres. Depending on what you're going to put in there next, Jasmine, is you may be able to use an electric fence. You might want to use an electric fence because they got electric fences and they're run off of solar, which is good. But if you're doing 5 or 6 acres in one in as one pen, that's going to be a lot. Yeah, this is then we can focus on freeze dryer. I would I will look into the layaway. Thanks for the tip. Andy says you should try some milk duds in the freeze dryer. Andy, the part about milk duds is chocolate, that chocolate coating doesn't freeze dry good. You end up having to wipe it off. So you're just best off getting some caramel bites or getting some craft caramel and cutting it in half and putting that in the freeze dryer. I know one thing that's really good in a freeze dryer. When I get pizza, and since I live by myself, I can't eat it all when it's fresh. So I throw the rest of it into the freezer. And then I break it apart and put it on the freezer trays, freeze dryer trays, and freeze dry it. And that makes some good uh, cracker like things because what I do is when I get pizza, I like the thin crust, and that's perfect for dipping crackers with extra stuff on it. Yeah, but Jasmine, if you can get the $200 down payment, because this is during the sale, that would lock it in, even though you can't buy it for a while yet. That will lock in a lot of, the good price. Jasmine says, we have electric netting fence with a solar charger for rotational grazing the goats, and it worked really well. We just need to make some boundary fences for the Great Pyrenees. Yeah, I can understand that. And a Great Pyrenees can jump the standard fence. And he says, yep, we just roll on paper towels before we put them away. Oh, okay. Yeah, that takes away the chocolate. I'll tell you what chocolate chips do work in a freeze dryer, and that's ice cream with chocolate chips. That chocolate chip does not um, melt in the freeze dryer. It's still good. So I don't think it has as much oil as regular chocolate chips have or regular chocolate has. Now, if you want to do quail in the freeze dryer, I would advise you to cook the quail first because then it does good. But when it's not cooked, it doesn't do so good because a lot of people say that quail is lean But when you pull raw quail out of the freeze dryer, it's oily. Aaron says, I was just listening while cooking, but now I'm back. What were you cooking, Aaron? Jasmine says, this lifestyle is definitely all about checks and balances for all the projects and such, LOL. Adding things one project at a time. Just like Zach says, slow and steady wins the race. Linda says, he's coming gumbo. Oh, he's cooking gumbo. And Aaron says, I agree, Jasmine. Linda, are you over at their house? Cooking a chicken and sausage gumbo. Not quail and sausage? Linda, haha, no, it's cold. Cajuns cook gumbo. You know, today would also be a good day for me to get out my quail carcasses and spines and put them in the soup pot. Aaron says, LOL, we will be together next weekend. Well, that sounds like fun. I won't tease. I was just getting ready to tease you. I know what happened. Linda and Christina get together and leave Aaron out of it. Jasmine says, Verna, my KOA GP puppy is 15 weeks old today and weighs 51 pounds. Ha ha ha. He won't stop growing. Jasmine, he just started growing. He's only 15 weeks old. He's only about 3 months old. You got another 15 months to go before he's close to full growing. Linda says, yes, I can't wait to see you both. I'm going to miss Lane, though. Why, where's Lane at? And he says, I have rabbit bones I'm going to make broth with, too. You know, Aaron, with my freeze dryer, I like to make the broth, cook it down a little bit, and then freeze dry it so I make my own bouillon. Otis says, now I want to lay away a crunchy food saver. Aaron says, wow, Jasmine, he's such a cute, tiny puppy right now. And he says, I have some quail and ham bones in the freezer also. Yeah, if you make bouillon out of it, I mean, you can make that bouillon into soup, or you can use that bouillon to heighten the flavor to other foods. Aaron says, Lane's going on vacation with my parents. Oh, bummer. I hope he has fun, though. Jasmine says, I know, he eats 7 cups of food plus a raw quail and quail eggs, goat's milk, and bone broth every day. How many quail eggs does he get a day? How much goat's milk? And how much bone broth? Jasmine. I don't know if I showed you guys one package I have that I'm saving up for Lucy's food if times get tough. This is quail innards. Raw innards. There's eggs in there that just weren't laid yet. There's eggs at various stages of development. Heart, liver, gizzards, testes, all different things. Jasmine says, "Oh, Lane, Christina, I think of Lane every time I hear Dance Monkey, LOL." And Andy says, "I need to get the freeze dryer for that reason. That would save so much room and lids." And Linda asks, "Is that freeze dried?" Yes, it's totally freeze dried, and then I vacuum sealed it. So if you vacuum seal it, you don't need an air thing. But if you put it in a Mylar bag, you need the oxygen absorbers. That's what it is. Then I've got full. Juanita Fields, good morning. And Juanita says, good morning. Jasmine says, Koa gets 5 to 7 quail eggs throughout the day. About a half cup of goat's milk and 1/4 to a half cup of bone broth. Oh, okay. Lucy gets anywhere from 3 to 2 dozen quail eggs a day. She has 2 cups of dog food, a taste of my snacks, and cleans my plate. Aaron says, good morning, Juanita. Juanita says, hey, Aaron. Jasmine says, hey, Juanita. Jasmine says, Lucy's living the life, LOL. Juanita says, just assembled my Wynola Ranch cage. Juanita, was that a single tier, a 3-tier, 4-tier, or 5-tier cage? Or was it the My Shire inspired cage? Oh, it's the breeding cage. Okay. I've got one of those, and I got 2 sets of community cages. If you take the 3-tier breeder cage and take out the dividers, you have to string up the bottom tray in the middle so that they can't make it go down and escape. Andy says, Jasmine, my Great Pyrenees hit a growth spurt around 2 years old. Looked like he doubled in size about 3 times in 1 week. I'm already starting to save for when Jenna's Maggie has her next litter. Okay, I'm going to have the money for that puppy. Jesus says, wow, I feel like my boy grows overnight. He changes so fast. He has gained over 20 pounds in 4 weeks. Jasmine, your boy is like the dog version of a quail when it comes to hatchlings, how fast they grow. He's doing the same thing as they do, but multiply it exponentially. Yeah. Jasmine says, "LOL, that's so true." See how funny everything is. I can compare a lot of different things in life according to Quail. Unqualified. Jasmine says, "Verna, I'm excited to finally get rabbit's bread so I can supplement more of his food with raw." That's good. Do you notice there's some people that are claiming about saying that raw dog food that is such the rage for dogs is not good for dogs? Hey, cousin! Sneaks in the back and slips in an empty seat. Jasmine says, "You are, LOL, qualified." Yep. Jasmine says, "Hey, SO, see, Steve, you ain't gonna get sneaked by. We ain't gonna let you." Aaron says, "I'm keeping attendance today. I have Steve marked as tardy." And he says, "I got my Harvest Guard reusable canning lids yesterday instead of being here on Monday. 50 regular and 50 wide mouth." Is Harvest Guard the ones that are like ceramic, Andy? Jen says, "Yeah, I've been raw feeding for 6 years. It is so good for dogs when it's done correctly. No one can convince me otherwise." You know, that's what I'm saying is there's a lot of controversy. Somebody is kind of sneaking in there. I don't know what their reason is, but they're trying to say anything that we go for is bad. So that's their problem. Because you tell me a dog catches a wild turkey and eats it, that's bad for the dog. Mm-mm. Dog catches a wild rabbit and eats it. Jessica says, "LOL, yep, I call bull." I agree. Annie says, "Raw food equals being able to not shop at the store as much." And Steve says, "If it wasn't good for dogs, why was freshly caught and raw all they ate before domestication?" Exactly, because Annie says they're white. They are white plastic. Okay, but they have like a rubber on it, and they're resealable. Jasmine agrees with Steve and I. Yep, she says exactly. That's like it's not good for us to eat raw eggs. Well, I tell you, if we grow the birds that lay the eggs, then we know how fresh they are, and they are good for us. Jasmine says, "Andy, rabbits, are they like the Tadler lids?" She says, "Those that don't know all." Exactly. You know, an idiot thinks they know everything. A wise person, no matter knows that no matter how much education they have, they see what they don't know. In other words, more you know, the more you want to know. And that's how that's why the experiment with the quail, I wanted to see how long it would take before inbreeding showed up in my covey. And it takes at least 12 generations. And he says, yes, why is it okay for a dog to get into a chicken coop and it's okay for them to eat, but it's not okay for you to feed them it? Exactly, Andy. What are you going to do? Stop your dog from catching the wild rabbits, the squirrels, possums, or whatever wild animal that comes in their yard from eating it? Jasmine says, I have learned you cannot argue with a fool, Verna. I just nod and say, okay. You know what I do when I come across them online? I'll say, well, in my opinion, or what I would do are the things that I say. That way I'm not arguing and I'm not making them feel like I'm arguing. I just say what I would do and how I think. They can take it for however they want. It's just like when you talk about celadons, just because I don't like them, because I don't do just pretty, in other words, something that's just for eggs. I have to have birds that are higher in weight for meat consumption. Celadons are good for those that wants just pretty and wants to grow for that, for the beauty aspect, because they have a clientele for it. That's fine. And the only place, because like when I had celadons, I got it from Whiskey Tango Farms. They were okay. It's just I find celadons are just lazier birds. You know, they don't lay consistently as often, and you know, my own problems with them. Jasmine says, right, in my experience. Yep. IMHO. In my humble experience. I mean, opinion. So you can say, IME. In my experience. What's the difference between harvest guard and taddlers lids? I mean, yeah, Andy. Aaron says, does anyone have hatching time breeder cages? I have a question about the water system. Okay, Andy, I had a hatching time cage and I got rid of it because I'm too old to be going to the floor for the bottom cage. Um, I didn't like their water system because my bird would end up with cuts along its beak where it would slip on them and hit them. And it's a flat water thing that the flat water tank. And I gave my hatching time cages away when I went over to Wynola Ranch. Andy says, I just ordered 50 celadon eggs. Haha. You know, Andy, if you like it, that's fine. It's just Aaron, I think, just got some. And I think he got it from Whiskey Tango Farms, which is a good place to get them. Jasmine says, okay, cool, Andy. I thought they were similar. I'm looking into reusable canning lids. I have been hoarding the regular canning lids for now. So what's your question, Aaron, on the hatching time watering system? Aaron says, Andy, I'm waiting for my celadon eggs from Whiskey Tango Farms. Andy says, I love Tadler lids. Harvest Gold had a great sale I couldn't pass up. Aaron says, I'm not a fan of them. I turned in some quail for the ones I have. I just wanted them for some color projects. That's great, Aaron. I mean, whatever you want to do with them, that's fine. Experimenting helps grow your knowledge base. Andy says, I see no difference in them other than the stamp names so far, but I haven't used them yet. Okay, that's probably like the difference between ball and what's the other one? Harvest jars. Jasmine says, I adore my celadons and my jumbos and all my fees, lol. I love all things quail. I would, Jasmine, I would have stayed with the fees if I had a place where I could grow. But the fees were not good for selling for meat because I felt like I was ripping people off because they're smaller. But and I love the pansy fees. Steve says, I did a good and a bad thing yesterday. The good was I did not go to Tractor Supply and buy a freeze dryer. It took all I had to not go. Steve, you need to go online, put a down payment on it to lock it into that price. And then when you're ready to go, you just get it. Aaron says, I don't think my quail are understanding how to use the waterers. Looking for advice because I'm about to use my quail water cups and remove the entire system. Aaron, I agree with you there, but put your water system on outside of the cage so that they can stick their heads out to get their drinks, so you don't end up flooding your trays. Andy says Whiskey Tango Farms never had them available for ordering, so I could not get any from them. So where did you get yours from, Andy? C says the bad was that it was Veterans Day. It would have been 15% off, so it would have been $200 less than Harvest Right's current sale price. Oh, Steve, that's terrible. Andy says, yes, I'm thinking that too on the lids. So you must be thinking about saving them like Jasmine, stacking up on them. Yeah, it says, Andy, I was the first order when they put them back up. You got lucky, Aaron. Jasmine says, I totally understand that. I am spoiled with all the space I have. I don't take it for granted. I have some gorgeous pansy fees from my shire and some feed mix growing out in the brooder. That is great, Jasmine. No, if I would have had even a small backyard, I could do a lot more than what I'm doing now. And he says, I ordered some celadon eggs over the summer, had a bad hatch, and they gave me a good deal off this order. But so far, the 4 that I have are bigger than the quail I already have. I want some colored birds. That's cool, Andy. Because I got my eggs from Southwest Game Birds. Alrighty. "45 minutes and my cup is almost empty, Aaron." Jevin says, "So, Verna, when will you have more eggs?" Oh, it's going to be a couple more weeks before I get my eggs. I'll get them before Thanksgiving. But in between times, I want to bomb this apartment because that exterminator did diddly squat. I'll be right back. Aaron says, "Now I have to go make a cup of coffee." See, I had to fill mine up, Aaron, so it's about time to fill yours open. Jasmine said, "Is the apartment quiet?" Yeah, until the schizophrenic next door to my bottom door has one of his episodes. Linda says, "Coffee sounds good this morning." Jasmine says, "I'm reloading coffee too." Juanita says, "Verna, what are you trying to get rid of?" Juanita, cockroaches. They are bad here. And I'm not going to let him put the exterminator in here. Every time I need to exterminate, I'm going to be bombing myself because of his cheap but landlord doesn't want to pay anything, so you know you don't get a good job done. Otis says, "Tap water with your finger to fill up the bowl." What's that on, Otis? Andy says, "I have 8 boxes with 44 boxes of 12 lids in each metal lids. They were my mom's. I also got a truck bed full of quart jars of hers too. Then I bought 19 cases of pint-sized jars in 2019. Well, I've got 3 or 4 cases of jars myself, but since I got the freeze dryer, I'll be using some of the jars for freeze drying because I can vacuum seal those in the freeze dryer. My navel oranges, I waited too long so that when the oranges finally got freeze dried, the orange flesh itself was already starting to dehydrate itself, which meant it was losing flavor. But the orange zest is so strong. Aaron says, "Otis, that was what I have been doing." Jasmine says, that's a bummer, Verna. It's too bad the landlord doesn't give a rat's butt about tenants' living condition. Hopefully you can get a handle on those buggers. Oh, I will. When I bomb, then I've got roach bait that I'll put after the bombing. Juanita says, I have a wildlife removal business if you need any help. Well, do you have the roach spray that turns the roaches infertile? And he says, Verna, if you were near me, I would send my hubby over. He kills them for a living, LOL. Andy, where are you located? Nice, Andy Rabbit. Andy says, I need more food to fill all the jars. Ha ha ha. She's in Southwest Missouri, I think Jasmine said. Yeah. Thank you, Jasmine. You know, Andy, that is a nice offer. What's going to happen is I'm going to either bomb Monday or Tuesday. And the day I bomb, Lucy, the Kai, and I will go downstairs to my friend's apartment. Then I give him a bomb so that the next day he can bomb, and him and his dog come up to my apartment. And he says, I'm in Missouri. Everybody I know from Missouri always said it's called it's state of misery. But that's a joke. Jasmine says, do you breed other rabbit breeds besides silver foxes? C says, dang, Andy, you be rich with canning supplies. Andy says, West Plains, Missouri. Woman of Spirit says, blessings, all you beautiful Quail people. Blessings, Jan. Good to have you this morning. I'm already on my second cup of coffee. Well, we got 12 people. Well, we're down to 11. We had 12 people with 11 likes. Thank you, Jasmine. She says she got her thumbs up in for you, V. What you do is after this, you share it to your friends. Jan says, I've been listening for a few minutes. Did I bore you to death yet? And he says, I have full-size Rex, Havanas, and mini Rex. What's a Havana rabbit? I know what Rexes are and mini Rex, but I've never heard of a Havana. You guys know I don't have room for rabbits. I have Kai or Cabby. Jan says, never bored, Verna. And Annie gave her thumbs up. Jan says, I had to pull out my SOP book to figure out what Havana is. And it says, morning, women of spirit. Oh, I can't get a cigarette light. Let's save my life today. She says, I put up 350 quarts and pint jars this year. I'm out of jars, lol. Wow. And how much space did that take up? C says, I see 13 likes. I know I got my two. Thanks. Thanks, cuz. Now up, I only see 12. Jan says, morning, Aaron. No, when I get busy with my quail again, each cage I'm gonna do a batch of quail. I'm gonna mark all my birds. I'm gonna start on a different breeding program and see how long that'll last. Danny says, Havana's, they are a smaller but fast growing, very slick fur. Andy, is their fur good for saving? In other words, can you tan their fur very good? And he says they are a calmer rabbit also. A good little meat rabbit. Okay, they're a good little meat rabbit, but is their fur a good quality for harvesting their fur as well? Well, this time it's 3 times on this one. 15. I see 14. Janet says it takes 3 shelving units, 6 feet tall, 5 foot long, plus in closets. Wow. Andy says yes, it is. Oh, how big do they get, Andy? And what way do you harvest the grow outs? Jasmine says, I just looked them up. Do you show your rabbits, Andy? I have Americans and cream d'Argents. Thinking about getting into smaller meat breed. Calmer would be nice too. You guys want to hear something funny? Listen to this. Do you hear the guy answering me? And the chocolate color ones are gorgeous, deep color, 4 to 6 pounds. That's all the bigger they get is 4 to 6 pounds. C says 350 jars would fill up every closet I have. Jasmine says, Verna, it looks like the Havana are 4 to 6 pounds. But what size do you process them at? Or how long does it take for them to get up to processing weight? Because if they're only 4 to 6 pounds, that's close to the size of a kai or cabby. The kai whistle back, cute. Yep, Jasmine. They do whistle back. We talk to each other that way. When I go into the bathroom, they'll whistle for me. And they like to come up. The other day, I had left the bottom cage on the 2-tier cage open and didn't realize it, went about my business in the room. And the guinea pigs didn't get out. They just stood at the doorway and waited for me. C says, Verna has an echo. Yeah, but my echoes are living and breathing and hopefully mating. If I don't have a litter by the end of February, it'll be processing time. Jan says, good morning, Steve. Jasmine, I agree with you when you say living and breathing and hopefully breeding. Yeah, okay. You repeated what I said. And he says, they almost keep up with my silver foxes at growing out, which is about how many times? About 6 weeks? 12 weeks? Anything I have crossed them with grow fast and meaty. I'm still curious on how long grow out is for them. From birth to harvesting. 4 to 6, they're only about that big. Wait, what? And that's about how big my biggest guinea pig is. My biggest cabby or kai. Kevin, are you still here or did you leave already? And he says, I keep my silver foxes for fur, so I hold on till 16 weeks. And how long do you hold on to your Havanas, Andy? 16 weeks is 4 months. Three to 4 months. Yeah, my mind just went blank. I hate that. Too many thoughts at once. I've got one that is that long. Uh, no, it's about that long. And the other two are about that long. I mean, the other three. But both my females have the longer fur. And he says, I have only butchered one Havana because it got hurt. Most leave here alive. Oh, I see. If they're a good meat bird, I'd be. Maybe I'd have to figure out a way to get some rabbits from you, Andy. Because I don't think anybody around here has Havanas. Jan says, got 3 inches of snow last night, southern Indiana. Yeah, we got snow showers going on now. Steve says, brr. Andy says, it was about 6 weeks, and off the bone, I got about 1 pound of meat from it. Hey, that's pretty good. Jasmine says, I'm tempted to get some Havanas from her too. Andy, are you coming to QuailCon in September? Andy says, I would like to see your calves. You should do a video of them. Maybe I will today. I think I'm going to put them in a playpen today, let them play. One breeding pair at a time. Jasmine says, Chris got his silver foxes from her. Yeah, Andy, if you have Havanas, then I might want to get 2 females and a male from you. If you got more than one set of breeders, males that aren't agreed. Jasmine says, I agree, Verna. They are so cute with their long hair. Yeah, I got one that's fully long hair. I got one that has long geese, not quite long. It's longer than an English style, but shorter than the other type. I can't remember the names right now. And he says, I'm not sure I'll have to see what's happening in September. I want to this year. I wanted to this year, but couldn't. And he says, yes, he did. I got my jumbos from Chris. She says, okay, but I don't know what that symbol is. Oh, the okay symbol. Well, you don't mail rabbits, do you? You don't ship rabbits. I'm sure you sex rabbits the same way you do cavies or kai. What you do now, Andy, if you want to, you start training the person that's going to stay at your homestead to watch your animals. You start saving the money, and you put it on your calendar with a month advance notice to remind everybody. And he says, I just had 2 litters of silver foxes a few weeks ago. Aaron says, Steve, it's a little chilly in the doghouse this morning. Andy brings some to QuailCon so I can get some too. Yeah, because if they're small animals, I can handle it. But if they're full size that need the full size cages and everything, it kind of makes it hard for me. Because if my cages get here from Dale's Quail, it's been 10 days that we've been waiting for UPS to pick it up. Aaron says, Steve, it's a little chilly in the. Okay, I got that already. And Jasmine's laughing at Aaron. And he says, did you say ship rabbits? Yeah, live rabbits like Zach does live quail. So he says, Aaron, you'll have to relocate to the brooder. It's 36 degrees today. Our high is supposed to get up to 36. It's only 33 right now, but the wind chill makes it 25. And he says, my hubby takes care of my rabbits and quail for me when I leave, LOL. Oh, see, now you need to just start saving money and put it on your schedule to remind everybody. Aaron says, I don't have any brooder space with all these eggs Christina keeps hatching. Christina's got the addiction. Jasmine says, mine does too. Good, hubby. Andy says, I keep the Havanas in a 2x2 cage. Yeah, I could probably do it because what I'll have is cages from Dale's Quail. And I got the 2 cages that I have that are you can put rabbits, ferrets, or whatever in it. She says, why are you in the doghouse? And she's hatching. Something's off about that. Andy says, I never tried shipping, LOL. Jasmine says, right, Christina is hatching all them eggs. Andy says, yes, I have a very great hubby for sure. Tickle Trunk says, yay, caught the end. Yeah, we got 45 minutes to go, Kelly. Linda says, haha, Christina's addiction is keeping Aaron in line. Yep, you got that right, Linda. Christina says, Christina only hatches her silkies, and they are not laying right now. Oh, so he's the one hatching the quail, Christina. Jasmine says, hey, Kelly. C says, tickle trunk. Kelly says, hey, guys, sorry, Saturdays are crazy. Okay, what do you guys think about me doing a Wednesday at noon? Because other people are saying that that would be a good time to also do it, do live stream. Andy says, my birthday is September 18th. I told him I wanted it to be my birthday gift this last year, but it just didn't work out. Oh, I am so sorry, Andy. Aaron says, hey, Kelly. Kelly says, I even set the timer and it didn't remind me. That sounds like my Alexa. Kelly says, hey, yes, I think Wednesday at 12 could work for me. Aaron says, do both. I'll be at work on Wednesdays. Aaron, I plan to keep Saturday mornings regardless of what I do. Steve says, I can't do weekdays. I can listen off and on, but at least I'd be awake, LOL. Well, he didn't say LOL. He just gave a smiley. I put the LOL in there. Jasmine says, I am usually not available Wednesday mornings or afternoons. Okay, so me keeping both will hit 2 groups of people, which would be great. And they won't be the same because every day is different. And he says, I'll breed some Havanas up for you all then. Well, how much will you charge per rabbit, Andy? So I know I have that money set aside. Because if that gets the worst, I could get rid of the bookcases, which I've been planning to do anyhow. At least getting rid of one of them. And then I would put the Kai out here and put the Havanas in the quail room. And he says, I would love a daytime live without anyone home. A weekday live, that is. Okay, so me starting out 2 hours later on Wednesday would be good for you guys, right? Sometimes even at our age, we have to stretch a little bit. And he says, I get $30 for them. For each. So that would be $30 for a buck and $60 for a couple of females. That would mean I need to save up $90 earmarked for Andy. Sounds good to me. Sounds good to me, Andy. And he says they are good mamas too. I use them for foster mamas a lot. That is great. Jasmine says, Andy Rabbit, Havanas would be comparable to Florida White except prettier colors, yes? Kelly says, how's the weather where everyone is? Cold in Utah, on and off snow. I'm getting rid of my rabbits Wednesday except for 2 pets. It'll make winter much easier. Rabbits are harder in our limited space. Well, Kelly, here it's 33 degrees with snow showers, and the wind chill factor makes it 24. And that's in Southwest Ohio. And he says, we had snow on the ground this morning. The roads are clear. Kelly says, my family is in Southwest Ohio. I know you're in Middletown. So I keep seeing people posting snow pictures. Well, I didn't have any snow when I took Lucy out for my earlier walk. It wasn't snowing or anything then, but when I checked the weather, it says, oh, now it's saying it's 32 degrees and rain to stop soon. I didn't know we were getting rain, but the weather channel said it was snow showers. Let me check again. No, weather channel says snow. AccuWeather says rain. Andy says I haven't had Florida whites, but I think they would be. Well, Andy, just between me and you and the people in the room, is I don't want anything from Florida. Everything in Florida has been a bad experience for me. Jasmine says, oh, wow, Andy, we had freezing temperatures, but no snow in Crane, Missouri. Matt says, hello. Good morning, Matt. Glad you made it back. Jasmine says, hey, Matt. Andy says, Savannah's come in many colors and broken colors also. And Jasmine says, ha, 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 Verna. I know what you're laughing about. I don't like anything from Florida. Well, it isn't just from the one you're thinking about, Jasmine. But that's a state that I lost my grandchildren in. So I have, quite a few years of bad experience with Florida. Steve says it's 36 in Mississippi. And Matt says, hello, y'all. How cold is it in New Mexico, Matt? Andy says, ha, 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 Verna. I know. Mine automatically go to a terrible person that lives in Florida. Matt says 29 here right now. What's your wind chill factor? Because my wind chill factor is 24. Jasmine says, what colors do you keep of the Havanas, Andy? Andy says, my trip to Florida, I got a pretty bad sunburn. Steve says, dang, 29 in New Mexico? I thought that was all desert. Steve, deserts gets cold too. Matt says, none right now. Whoo, you're chilly. Yeah, and after this live stream, I have to take Lucy out in it. I have to walk in it 5 times a day. Kelly says, I just realized the Florida connection. Slow morning brain. Kelly, we forgive you. You haven't got one of Aaron's cups of coffee yet. Aaron and Christina's. Matt says, we go from 0 to 110 over the year. And he says, I have black, chocolate, blue, and sometimes lilac. Oh, I love lilac. But you know, Andy, I don't care what color I get. If I have 2 different color does, and the buck can be whatever color you have the most of. Jasmine says, I am loving our wood burning stove right now. Such a cozy warmth. Yeah, Jasmine, you're lucky. I can't have a wood burning stove in an apartment. I can't even have a space heater legally. Kelly says, we don't do coffee in our house, LOL, but I do pre-workout. Well, what about tea, Kelly? Tickle Trunk don't like tea? Hot tea is good this time of year. Does anybody make their own flavoring extracts? Because I got my version of Kahlua, except for it's really just a coffee extract. I just bottled it up last night. Then I got some more going here. I'm not sure which one this is. I'll have to taste it later. This one's strawberry. This one's peppermint. And this one, I think, is cherry. Yeah, it's cherry. The coffee I bottled up last night. Andy says, and broken of the colors too. That's fine. Kelly says, we do herbal teas like loose leaf, etc., and hot chocolate. Well, I can't do hot chocolate because that messes with my sugar and my waistline. But I do a lot of herbal teas. I love loose leaf herbal tea. And I'll tell you one that you need to try, Kelly. You need to try where you put sage and lemongrass together. That makes a great tea. Erin says, good chatting this morning. It's time to take my friend Porky the pig to freezer camp. Oh, are you guys going to render the fat too from Porky? Jasmine says, I make my own vanilla extract. I use either vodka or bourbon for the vanilla. I've got vanilla too. That's the one I didn't pull out from the back. I think that's what this one is, vanilla. And I use vodka on it. On my coffee extract, I used rum because that's what they use in Kahlua. I don't see what Matt said, but Kelly answered, yes, Matt. Works out, chopping wood, building a fire. Oh, okay, I missed a lot. She says, I had a wood burning stove in Delaware. I loved it. It was the basement and warmed the whole house. Kelly says, I'm type 1 diabetic, so I do sugar-free hot chocolate. I am allergic to some of the sweeteners because I'm allergic to MSG. I can't have that blue sweetener. I can't remember the name of it right now. So the only sweeteners I do is either saccharin, which I only do when I have to, or stevia. And stevia is the best. Kelly says, do you process the pig yourself? Wow, great job. Aaron said, yes, Kelly. And Steve says, dang, I'm going to have to start drinking extract. Jazzy says, nice, I will have to start experimenting with other extracts. And she laughs at Steve like I did. Well, you guys, give me a second. I have to answer a call that you can't refuse. Do you guys like that announcement I got when I went through there? Yes, this is Have Fun, Aaron, and we process our own large animals like pig, beef, venison. Next year's goal, goat. Andy says, oh, I think you asked how I process my rabbits. I use the choke chain method. Interesting. Steve says, choke chain. I'll have to look that up. Jasmine says, I just saw that method, Andy. I may have to try that. I usually have Luke do the dispatch, then I do the butchering. Yeah, I'm going to have to look that up too. Let me write a note down here. Yeah, this is okay. Yeah, this is I just saw that method, Andy. I may have to try that. I usually have Luke do the dispatch and then I do the butchering. Jan says, oh, your babies love you. Their sound is so cute. They're not my babies, they're my breeders. Jan says, yes, heard them whistle at you. LOL. She says, now when the kind whistle, it sounds like it's in my room. That's every time I have to go through that room that they holler for me. So they do love me because that's what they do when they love somebody, and I think they just love me because I'm the food dispenser. The same way some of the quail loved it when they seen my hand try to peck my hand because they know I got mealyworms in it. She says I love my food dispenser too. Jasmine says, all right, loves, I gotta go. Glad to have spent my morning with y'all. Have a blessed day, Jasmine. Matt laughs. Everybody saying goodbye to Jasmine. Jasmine says, I am now thinking about new Havanas thanks to Andy and Verna, LOL. Andy says, there's a good video on YouTube for choke chain. It's much easier on my back and I can set it to any height I need. Jasmine says, bye bye. Well, she just says bye, but I doubled it. Has anybody tried the cervic dislocator that people are using for quail? That's similar to what others use for rabbits. Has anybody tried that one? while I'm waiting for you guys to respond, I'm going to get me some more coffee. Uh, C says, I can't do the cervical dislocation correctly, so I'll stick with the scissors. Gretchen says, me as well, Steve. She says, I just wasn't fast enough and they screamed at me when I tried. Your quail screamed at you? Sometimes I get mad at the quail because it takes me so, I had to do it more than once to try to get it done. Jan says I did the cervical dislocation once. I prefer to use the scissors and put them in a small plastic flower pot to drain blood for garden. She says you scream too if someone was trying to break your neck. Mine don't scream. Mine just look like they're dead and then they lift their head like, yeah, I'm not giving up that easy. And he says I haven't. I have only butchered 10 quails so far, if you don't count the one I accidentally killed the other day. Well, 2 weeks ago, I killed about 50. And it took me 2 days, almost 3 days to do that many. Because when you're by yourself, it's harder. Kelly, I think you meant to ask Andy about accidentally. Steve says, it took me 2 years to butcher a quail. My daughter always did it for me. Thanks to Jasmine's teaching, James, we're experts now. Kelly says, oh, yes, Andy. In other words, Andy, Kelly wants to know how you accidentally killed one the other day. Matt says, I don't like doing it, but getting better. The first year that I called the birds, the first 3 or 4 times that I had to do it, I cried while I was doing it. And it would take me at least a week to recover from the effects. But now, after doing it for over 3 years, it still takes me a while to do it because I get distracted early and my hands get tired. Matt says, I don't like doing it, but getting better. Andy says, I save my butchering blood from my gardens too. You know, I would save my butchering blood, but the problem is Lucy gets a chance, she drinks it all. In fact, my way of butchering here in the house during bad weather is that I put a pea pad down under my A-frame that holds my cones, and yeah, Lucy waits until I'm in the kitchen with that batch, and then she licks up. She says, I'm okay with their heads and the quivering. I do have to look away when I pull their innards out. Now, me, I'm curious about the innards, and I investigate why I'm butchering, because I have that inquiring mind. But the thing that freaks me out is I hate doing it when the heart's still beating. So that's why I do the cervical dislocation. That way I can put them in the cone, because if you try to put a live quail in the cone, it's a battle. And then I cut the head off. Linda says, we're going to separate my QC babies next weekend. I'm sure we'll probably butcher a few. I think I'll always cry, but Jasmine showed me how to do it, so I should be okay. Let's just say it gets easier with time. It's never easy, but it gets easier each time you do it. Andy says, I was trying to vent sex to quail. I wrapped them in my shirt, put it back in the cage, and it was gasping for breath. That's because you couldn't breathe in your shirt. Matt says, I don't like the blinking. Yeah, I know what you mean. Katrina says, hi, everyone from Gilroy, California. Good morning, Verna. Good morning, Katrina. You caught the last 15 minutes, but that's cool. Steve says, my first butchering experience was with chickens when I was 16. Snapped their heads off and watched them run around the yard with no heads. Steve says, hey there, Katrina. That's like my mom's story is when she was little and they butchered chickens at her grandparents' house. She hated it because she got chased all over the backyard by a headless chicken. Katrina says, I'll be heading out soon to give egg freebies to restaurants. Got the permits and labels in order finally. Wonderful, Katrina. You're really growing. And she says, hi, Steve. Andy says, I was the only one in my class that wanted to dissect that frog so the innards don't bother me. Andy, I was so bad before that I couldn't stand even being in biology class because having to sit in the back because of my last name, I was in with all those exhibit jars and I could not take it. So I didn't dissect anything. I never killed anything until I killed my first quail. And then it says, yay, Katrina. Jan says, congratulations, Katrina. And Katrina says, hi, Linda. Linda says, I got to head out too. We're painting today. Everyone have a great day. You have a blessed day, Linda. But Andy, with me, to your curiosity of how everything lays in the bird, and when I did my last call and I had those 2 eggs in a leathery sack and 1 egg that's about ready to go out of the canal, the I don't know what you call it, when she was getting ready to lay it. I couldn't figure out her little body. She had so much in her and then all of her insides as well. That was really weird. Jen says today's menu is chicken and dumplings and carrot cake. Now that there's snow on the ground, my eating will change. Katrina says we did frog dissection and it wasn't pith yet. I could tell it was still conscious in the eyes and refused to cut it. It then sat up, and the teacher ran over and grabbed it and moved it to the back. And he says, "You think it could not breathe in my shirt? I hope not. I used my shirt to help me hold them. I work myself, so I used it as an extra hand." And Katrina says, "Thanks, woman of spirit." And she says, "Oh gosh, Verna, I make them jars now, lol." Yeah, I cannot do that. So every time I had biology class my freshman year, or was it eighth grade? Yes, either one, eighth grade or freshman year, I snuck off to the women's restroom and smoked cigarettes and read underneath the sinks. Till I got busted by my school counselor and she had me moved then. She says, "I never had biology, so I escaped that trauma." Yeah, when you see baby embryos of different stages of development in jars and two-headed babies and stuff like that, yeah, sitting in that back was very traumatic for me. So, Andy, when you make those jars, what do you use in them? Formaldehyde, alcohol, or what? And Steve, when you make those skulls from quail, I thought I wouldn't be able to do it because you'd have to pull out the eyeballs. Wasn't as bad as I thought it would be. Katrina says they use formaldehyde now. I mean, formula now, which has formaldehyde in it. She says, "Do you raise those frogs or you have to go out and catch them wild?" And he says, "The hens I butchered, the undeveloped eggs are going in a jar as soon as I find a set of small jars. They are in the freezer for now." Yeah, but in the jars, what do you put in them, Andy? Me, I think I would just do rubbing alcohol because that's cheap and easy to get to. Andy says, "I could imagine that would be hard for you, sitting with the jars." Sorry. Yeah, back then I was such a tender-hearted little brat with just as big amounts as I got now. And he says, I'm only using alcohol right now. Yeah, that's what I would use. You know, that would be interesting though, is next time I hatch, the eggs don't hatch, open them up and jar the chicks in alcohol, then take it to the school for discussion on quail. Kelly says the world is different now, so I was able to get over not killing things. Well, I lived 50 years of not killing things, Kelly, so. Ed got bait says, good morning, everyone. Good morning, Ed. Glad you can make it this morning. About 8 minutes before we sign off. And C says, hey, Ed, good morning. Kelly says, yeah, but now you know how when it's most important. Ed says he's tired. And he says, my first rabbit I had to put down was a needed to be done, so he broke his leg. He was named. Reason I don't name them anymore. That's my policy, Andy, is I don't name anything that's food. Matt says, gotta get going, unfortunately. Have a good day, Verna. And you all. Matt, you have a blessed day. And give your little farmer a hug for me. And Jan says, morning, Ed. Matt says he will. Some people that do name their food will give them food names. And he says, I lived about 47 years without killing things myself. My ex used to do it and hunted. Yep. In fact, when I was young adult, and I would talk to my stepdad while he was processing his squirrels and rabbits from him going hunting. I couldn't watch him process. I looked at him instead of the animal until it was done. And he had processed a squirrel, and with all the fur off, it looked like a little bitty baby. And that freaked me out. Didn't stop me from eating the squirrel, though. Nanny says, good morning, Ed. So it looks like my next movie will be on the guinea pigs. Hey, Ed, I showed everybody the candy I got out of the freeze dryer. Now you see where I put it so I can show it to you. Here's the mini marshmallows. This is the laugh taffy. Let me see if I can. There we go. There's the laugh taffy. And this is the peppermint saltwater taffy. Let's see. It says I hunt and fish. Well, I did anyways. Hope to get back to it. Yeah, I used to fish a lot, and I didn't. My belated husband and I, we had a deal. When we went fishing, he wouldn't fish, but he'd go because he liked me because I enjoyed it. We had a deal. I'll catch the fish, I'll clean the fish, but I wasn't going to cook them, so he would cook them on the grill. C says, I always thought that skinning them, okay, I already did that. Oh, he goes, I always thought that skinning them was unique when my uncle would clean their catches. And he says, yes, I like food names. Stew is my favorite name, LOL. Eddie goes, nice. Cool, my gummy bears did come out like I thought they would. Did they blow up, Ed? Grow? Because the peppermint saltwater taffy got twice the size. And he says, I would clean skin my ex's catch, but I still would not hunt. I'm afraid I might not kill it at first. With hand processing, I know I'm doing it fast. And he goes, no, more like got bumps all over it, LOL. Yeah, I don't see a reason to do it. You got a few minutes yet, Lucy. You can wait a few more minutes. I'm going to smoke this cigarette and then I'll take you out, okay? Wait until, because later today, after I take Lucy for the walk, I'm going to do my butterscotch discs and my Jolly Ranchers. Then I'll show you what those look like. Because I haven't seen anybody do butterscotch discs yet. And he says, I haven't finished for a long time. I miss it, but ain't got anyone to go with me anymore. Oh, you haven't been fishing? That's my problem. Not only that I don't have anybody go with me, because that doesn't matter, but I don't have transportation, and it's very hard to find a fishing lake in here. And all the fishing lakes you have around here, you have to pay for. And I'm not used to that. I'm used to going to Lake Erie and fishing. And that was only a couple blocks from my house. It says fish in Zach's pond. Yes, Ed. Zach already gave me permission to do that. But neither one of us has had time for that yet. C says, bought me a boat for the big lake. Maybe that'd be a lucky charm I need for big fish. Yeah, well, it depends on what you call a big lake, Steve. If you want to do some big fishing, you need to go to the Gulf. Take your boat out there. Kelly says, Kay, gotta go. Love you all. Love you too, Kelly. Have a blessed day. Echo, stop. Well, you guys, it's time to go. And Steve says the lake is 153 miles around. Stardust in Mississippi. Well, you might catch some big cats in there. That says I used to have a commercial fishing license. It's been a real pleasure today. You all have a blessed day. And during the week, I'll get out a video on the Kai and let you guys see them. So have a blessed day and catch you tomorrow night at my Shire's live stream. Katrina says, have a great day.